June 28th is National Insurance Day. And this morning here on Jersey Magazine, we have with us Frank Jones. He is an independent insurance agent with Trusted Choice and also a partner with Mintz Insurance in Millville, New Jersey. Frank, good morning and welcome to WDHA and the Jersey Magazine.
Good morning, Jim. Thank you for having me.
We were talking just before we came on air, and we were talking about insurance can be a little bit complicated. And you said, and it can also be a little boring as well.
This is
Why
true.
is that?
This is
You're in
true.
the business.
You know what it is it's all the details that dictate whether or not insurance responds at time of a claim, and then getting it wading into the policy, having to deal with the decisions up front, not understanding the policy options appropriately. And that can get not only confusing, but also it could be a bit boring because who wants to talk about PIP, or who wants to talk about, these variables that you think will never happen? And I want coverage and I want it the cheapest way I can get it, which is the worst way of buying insurance. So as a trusted choice independent insurance agent, we have access to a cadre of carriers. And so that is only an advantage to the policyholder, or a greater advantage to the policyholder, because we have an opportunity to talk with a number of carriers and to secure the right coverage for the right risk. And so that's very, very important, is a proper coverage fit, if you will. So it can get very, very boring. I say insurance is fun. I'm stealing that from somebody in the industry. I've been in the industry 25 years from people. There was one person in particular. I can't remember who it was. But you know what they say about quotes? The first time you say, you attribute it to whoever said it. The second time you say you can't remember. Third time you say it becomes yours. So I don't know.
What are some of the things that, some of the ways that the average consumer can simplify the insurance purchasing process, Frank?
This is going to sound self-serving, Jim, but it is an honest answer, is dealing with a trusted choice independent agent. The way that the independent agencies work is, we as independent agencies contract with carriers. Now, an independent agent can be contracted with anywhere from 3 to 35 carriers, which means there's options for the buyer of the coverage. So one of the easiest things they could do is a consumer could go to a trusted choice independent agency. That's the first step I would suggest. Then once you're there and you're dealing with the decision-making process, to bundle your coverage with one carrier, if we're talking only personal lines, which I think that would be the preponderance of this discussion, is to combine your homeowners and or renters with your auto coverage. And that simplifies the process from everything from billing to coverage offerings. For example, you may have a carrier that will remain unnamed. Carrier A is really deep in the coverage offerings. And carrier C is good, but maybe you don't need all of these bells and whistles. And so to be able to combine your auto and your home with one carrier is going to do two things: simplify it, and usually helps you on the premium side.
We just did that recently. My wife and I and our family, we combined both, and the saving was very,
Significant,
very,
right?
oh, yes, very much so.
Yeah.
Very much so. Life insurance, I know the first time that I sat down with an insurance agent for that, it was one of the first times I thought, I'm not going to be here forever now, am I?
Yeah, that's a wake-up call.
It is a wake up call. It's one of the first times I think we really, really start to think about our mortality. How do I know when I have the right kind of coverage?
Oh, well, here's as candid as I can be. You really won't know until the time of a claim. That's an honest answer. At the outset, many people you hear, we make plans and God laughs, I think is a phrase that many people say. And so we do what we can to the best of our ability by taking information from a potential policyholder or a policyholder and crafting coverage according to the information we're provided. And what sometimes happens is we're not provided all of the information, either by accident, somebody didn't think to, or maybe it was an oversight. And so it's at the time of a claim, right? That's the only time that, any time in life, whether it's a business, a personal relationship, or a policyholder, the only time you can really value something or see if it's really what it was supposed to be, it's the time when an issue comes up. In the insurance world, that's when there's a claim. And so That's the honest answer I can give you. At the outset, prior to a claim, Jim, you want to make sure that you're as honest and upfront with your agent as possible, and that you feel a comfort level with that agent
For a kid who's getting out of college now, we're in the graduation season. How soon do they want to purchase life insurance?
as early as possible. So there are many forms of life insurance. There's a premium only coverage. I'm just keeping things basic for those that are listening on their drive. And you could pay a certain premium every month, and that'll be set for 15, 20, 30 years. And it will, as you age, increase a little bit after maybe it matures at maybe 15 or 20 years. And there are also life insurance products that are investment vehicles their whole life, and some of the variable ways in which life insurance is provided now in more of an investment opportunity while covering the exposure that presents itself, you know, for the need.
Now, as that college graduate ages, do they want to make changes to the life insurance policy and the coverage that they're getting?
Yes, any life change in really any area of insurance, whether you're a business owner or I'll say just in essence a policyholder of personal home and auto homeowners and personal auto or life, any really material change in your life, you should be talking with your insurance agent. For example, Christmas time comes. Did you buy your spouse an expensive gift that needs to be insured? Is there a new piece of jewelry? Are you acquiring jet skis for the summer? Those kind of things. Because just that insuring the jet ski is one thing, but what does that do to your liability? Not just insuring the jet ski itself and the like. So any life change, a material change in income. Okay, am I insured properly? Am I a bigger target now? Those kinds of discussions. And again, it goes back to the relationship that you would have with your insurance agent to know that, okay, John Doe, my insurance agent, is being very candid and open with me and telling me and not trying to, quote, sell me. You follow?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What are some of the more common mistakes that people do make when they purchase insurance, Frank?
Trying to save every penny possible. I tell people the difference between being insured properly and being insured cheaply is less than 12% on average. So if you think about somebody like a standard home and auto insured, maybe they're spending $6,000 a year, two autos and their home on average. So 12% of $6,000 is less than $800,
Right,
right?
720, right?
Yeah. So for $720, trust me when I tell you the $720 additional cost or savings rather will long be forgotten if you're dealing with a claim that is not covered
I didn't
because
realize you're going to make me do math this morning.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. In my head, I was trying to pick it. I wanted to be honest with the number, and
Right.
yeah, yeah.
What kind of warning signs should consumers look for
And
purchasing insurance? Are there
uh,
any red flags that they should be aware of?
oh boy, this one's going to get me in trouble, but it's safe to 25 years. If somebody is selling you insurance only focused or primarily focused on premium, that should concern somebody
Why is that?
because premium has to be part of the equation, but it should never be the primary focus of that discussion. The primary focus is what risks are inherent with what risk we're talking about, auto, home, et cetera, small business. That is where the discussion needs to be had. Once the parameters of coverage are determined, then we can look at the impacts of premium.
You mentioned business owners just kind of in passing a couple of times, and I know that's got to be daunting as well. You're dealing with all different kinds of liability. You have workman's compensation. What are some of the things that business owners need to take care of the most?
Well, they need to make sure that all that they're doing within their business is disclosed to their agent. Uh, at the end of the day, insurance is a financial animal. Insurance carriers are a financial animal. They are managing the finances and the ebb and flow of the claims and the premium payments. There's a vested interest on behalf of the insurance carriers, and I'm stating the obvious, I know, but I think it's helpful to look at it this way. Their interest is maintaining as much money as possible. that policy that is in place is, by and large, a contract between the policyholder and the carrier, and it stipulates the responsibilities of both parties and what the responsibilities are at the time of a claim. And so folks want to make sure that I just lost train of my thought that quick, Jim. And I told you it was boring, but it's not boring. My mind gets going. What the question was again? I'm very, very sorry.
We were talking about business owners and general liability and workman's comp and how daunting that whole process can be
Oh,
for
yes, yes,
them.
yes. Is disclosing everything. Because what could happen at the time of a claim is if it's, it's always the claims that somebody says, well, that's never going to happen. When you talk about employment practices liability, which is a business focused coverage that covers folks for wrongful termination, discrimination, sexual harassment, and like years ago, people would say, well, that would never happen. We're a small family group of people. And then people that say it will never happen are the people that experience those claims. So again, back to your question, it's very, very important that they disclose all that they're involved in so that when the policy is written, all of the potential exposures are at least contemplated. There may not be guaranteed coverage or full coverage and all that nuanced detail that is discussed with an insured, but they don't want to hold back information.
It sounds like in this whole conversation that we've been having that the communication between whether it's a business owner or just an individual with the agent is paramount to making sure that you're properly cared for.
100%. The worst case scenario for an agent, I would have to imagine, and again, I've been doing this 25 years, and thank God I have not had this experience, but is to have a call from an insured and say, hey, I had a claim relative to X, Y, and Z, and as an agent thinking, oh my goodness, I never talked to them about X, Y, and Z. Because you get to know your policyholders. They've become my friends. I'm not alone in this. Independent agents become your friends, your community people. It's people you live with and see and shake hands with and celebrate with and to have holidays with. And it's a family. And to know that something like an undisclosed detail wasn't done and have an uncovered claim weighs heavy on any independent agent.
You've mentioned a couple of times in our conversation about, well, that what are the odds of that happening? And I keep thinking of weather related stuff. And, over the past 10 years or so, we've been pounded by some serious, serious storms. And I don't, up until Sandy, I don't know that we had the proper coverage myself for our home, to be honest with you, Frank.
Well, Superstorm Sandy took many people by surprise. And what that has done, at least within the geographic areas that were affected by Superstorm Sandy, is it also woke up insurance agents because there were people affected that it wasn't really a surprise, right? I mean, it's kind of like on the shore, but there were also people affected that agents and obviously individuals were like, holy smokes, I never thought this could have happened to us. So we, on a daily basis, Jim, we focus on educating the public and our policyholders, and we want to make sure that they're making informed decisions. But one thing that nobody can do, you the policyholder or us the agent, is foresee something that nobody could have foreseen. And so that's why we run into this little bit of a, man, my agent's always trying to sell me on something. No, we're trying to make sure that we inform you of what exposures could present themselves in the off chance it happens. I want to make sure I'm covering my rear end, but I also want to make sure that you, Jim, you're taken care of in the case of this. So one of the most common misconceptions is that many people have had over the years, has presented itself is people assume, right, wrong, or indifferent, that their homeowners is going to cover flood, and it doesn't. And so getting people to understand that, kind of pushes or reinforces the general wrong belief that most insurance agencies are just trying to sell stuff. We're trying to advise you of the risks that are out there and a financial means of covering those risks in the off chance it happens. You don't want to buy it. Okay, we're going to note our file that we had the discussion with Jim on such and such a date and send you information. But yeah.
Well, with June 28th being National Insurance Day, I think these have been important topics to discuss. Frank Jones, an independent insurance agent with trusted choices and also a partner with Mintz Insurance in Millville. And for more information, you can go to trustedchoice.com. Frank, thanks you so much for your time this morning here on Jersey Magazine. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Jim. Go Red Sox.